Hello, my name is Coach Bill Doherty, and this is Liam Doherty. I'm a coach with the Westmeath Minotaurs, and Liam plays offensive line for us. Today I'm here to talk about basic core skills, and you might be wondering why I'm talking to you from my back garden. Well, we're filming this video in the time of the coronavirus, so we can't do it at the Mullingar Rugby Football Club where we normally train. But it does go to show how you can work on individual skills at home in your back garden. So in today's video we're going to talk about the football stance. And there are three types of football stances: the 2-point, the 3-point, and the 4-point. And those points that I'm talking about are those things that are in contact with the ground, namely your 2 feet and your 2 hands. Now, before we go into it, I want everybody to understand that variations exist on all of these stances. So when you go to your team and your coach wants you to do it a different kind of way, please do what your coach asks you to do. But I look at this instruction as a baseline for the 3 stances that we'll talk about today. Okay, first we're going to talk about the 2-point stance. And I've drawn this white line on the ground as a visual reference for us, especially when we're talking about where our feet needs to go. So we're going to talk about a balanced 2-point stance and a balanced 3-point stance when we get to the 3-point stance. So Liam's going to demonstrate for me, and he's going to put both his toes on the line, okay? And you can see how both toes are in alignment, right? And you can also see where his feet are slightly more than shoulder width apart. Liam, could you kind of show that profile with your feet shoulder width apart, please? There you see. He's nice and comfortable. Okay, let's go back on the line. Okay, so then now Liam is going to bend at the knees comfortably, right? He's going to be kind of loaded in a loaded position, because when the ball is snapped, he's got to be able to fire out, right? So now he's in a loaded position. You'll also see that his back is arched, okay? And his shoulders will be back, okay? Kind of flatten out his shoulders. Now, what we don't want is our shoulders kind of hunched forward and our back hunched forward like that. Okay, that drives down our head, which makes it hard for us to see what the defense is doing or what the offense is doing, okay? And it might cause us to hit or lead with our head, which is what we don't want to do. You can end up with neck injuries. Okay, so Liam's got his back arched, his knees are bent, his shoulders are back, and you'll notice that his elbows are in and his hands are in, right? And he's got his hands comfortable in a kind of a loaded position. All right, and now his head is up because he can see what the defense is doing or what the offense is doing. So that's your 2-point stance. Go ahead and relax, Liam. So if Liam wants to come up to the line of scrimmage and quickly get into this 2-point stance, I'll have him demonstrate that right now. So if Liam, you take just 2 or 3 steps back and he comes out of the huddle, break, gets up to the line of scrimmage, and he's ready to go. Great. Now we'll go to the 3-point stance. Relax, Liam. Now the 3-point stance, is the only difference is that third point of contact with the ground is going to be one of your hands, okay? Normally, you're going to do your dominant hand. If you're right-handed, you put your right hand down. Your left hand, you put your left hand down. You can also, your coach might tell you, if you're on the left-hand side of the line, you put your left hand down. If you're on the right-hand side of the line, you put your right hand down. But for the purposes of this instruction, Liam's going to put down his dominant hand. So Liam will come up to the line of scrimmage again, getting his toes nice and even. He's going to drop down, his knees bent. Okay, now he might have to bend down a little bit more to get into the 3-point stance. Then he's going to put his dominant hand down. Okay, and he's got his other arm over here, and it's not just resting on his on his knee. It's in a loaded position because it's going to fire out with the punch that we'll talk about later. Okay, now if I was to walk up to you, if your coach walked up to you, like I'm going to do to Liam, I should be able to push Liam in nearly any direction, and he should have a good stable base. Okay, relax, Liam. If you are leaning too far forward or you are leaning too far back, right, or side to side, you will not be in a good stable position. As an offensive lineman or defensive lineman that are normally using a three-point stance, you need to be able to move in any direction, okay, in any direction. Now, if Liam gets back down in his three-point stance real quick, you'll notice his hand is lightly touching the ground. He is not leaning too far hard on it. Go ahead and lean real hard. Okay? He's not putting a lot of pressure here. He's leaning too much. And he's not leaning back so much that his hand is off the ground. Okay? He's just got a slight touch on the ground. Okay? So that's the three-point stance. Now, the four-point stance, generally used for defensive linemen, okay? You might use it in a short yardage situation on the goal line for an offensive lineman. Again, now Liam will have his feet are even. Again, a common theme for all the stances. His feet are slightly more than shoulder width apart. Okay, he's going to bend down at the knees. Okay, and he's going to lean forward and put both hands down on the ground. Now, this stance is designed for you to fire out forward. Okay, with the three-point and the two-point stance, you can go in any direction, front, back, side to side. With this stance, you're trying to optimize firing forward. That's why it's mainly used by defensive linemen or in goal line situations for the offensive line when you got to move people off the line of scrimmage. Okay, go ahead and relax, Liam. So those are the basics of your stances. Okay, now that we talked about the stances, we're going to talk about the power step and the punch. So Liam's going to get into a good two-point stance. He's going to use this white line as a visual reference for both himself and for you. Now, the important part of the power step, it's the first step that you're going to take, right? Right before you make contact with your opponent. You can see Liam's in a good two-point stance. His body is coiled, right? It's like a compressed coil that's ready to fire out, okay? Ready to spring forward into action, okay? That first step, that first power step, he's going to take this foot, whatever foot he needs to move first, and it could be your left or right, just depends on the play situation. He's going to lift it up, and he's going to put it back down. And his heel should end up about on the other side of this line. And this line is about a 3-inch line, the same kind of line that you're going to see on a football field. So on ready, set, go, Liam, I want you to demonstrate the power step. Ready, set, go. Okay, let's try it again. Get your toes on the line. Ready, set, go. All right, let's use the other foot. Ready, set, go. Good. One more time. Ready, set, go. Okay, that's good power stepping. Now, near simultaneous with the power step is going to be your punch. Now, it's important to talk about the punch, where the power is generated. When you punch, you need to rotate your hips up. All power comes from the hips. All right, and you need to keep, when you punch, you need to keep your elbows within the frame. So if Liam turns his back to the camera, gets in a good two-point stance, when he punches, you should not be able to see his elbows. All right, that's how we want to look at it. If your coach is behind you and you punch, your elbows should be within the frame. Go ahead, Liam. Ready, set, go. One more time. Ready, set, go. Good. All right, let's do it from the other profile. Ready, set, go. Good. One more time. Ready, set, go. Good. Okay, why do we say that your elbow's got to be in? Okay, this isn't like a bench press, right? We're not bench pressing somebody out. We're firing out, and we're gaining more power by keeping our elbows inside our frame. Okay, if we do it like this, we're using just our triceps to push this man. Okay, here we're using our lats. Okay, we're using our pecs, and we're able to generate force from the hips coming up. So it's important that when you get in your back garden, and you might be doing this on your own, you can practice your power step punch, all right, and you'll be well on your way to being a good defender or being a good offensive lineman. So I thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos from different clubs on the core skills of American football. Thanks.